Deep in Santa's workshop at the North Pole, there was one treat that every elf looked forward to more than anything else. Mrs. Claus's magical hot chocolate. Each December evening, she would serve her special brew to all the hard-working elves. And with just one sip, their holiday spirit would soar, their tired muscles would feel refreshed, and their smiles would grow twice as bright. The recipe was a closely guarded secret that Mrs. Claus had perfected over centuries. Not even Santa himself knew the exact ingredients that made it so special. Three particularly curious elves, Tinker, Twinkle, and Tot, had always wondered about the mysterious recipe, especially after noticing how the workshop's productivity doubled on hot chocolate evenings. One chilly morning, just 2 weeks before Christmas, the three elves overheard Mrs. Claus mentioning that she had to travel to the Southern Polar Express to collect some rare polar stardust, one of her secret ingredients. She would be gone for exactly 3 hours. Tinker, the clever inventor among them, suggested they use this opportunity to find the recipe. Twinkle, the cautious one, reminded them that snooping wasn't very Christmas-like. But Tot, the youngest and most adventurous, convinced them that understanding the recipe could help them make the workshop even more efficient. They waited until Mrs. Claus departed on her errand, then sneaked into her magical kitchen. The room was warm and cozy, filled with the scent of vanilla and cinnamon. Copper pots hung from the ceiling, and mysterious jars lined the shelves, each labeled in Mrs. Claus's elegant handwriting. As they searched, they discovered ingredients they had never imagined. Moonbeam milk, laughing snowflake sugar, aurora powder, and something called polar bear's purr in a crystalline bottle. But the complete recipe remained elusive. Tinker noticed a peculiar cookbook on the highest shelf, bound in red leather with golden snowflakes. Using Tot as a ladder and Twinkle for balance, they managed to reach it. Inside, they found hundreds of recipes, but the hot chocolate pages were written in a special code that only Mrs. Claus could read. Determined to crack the secret, they began experimenting with the mysterious ingredients they had found. Tinker measured careful portions while Twinkle stirred the pot. Tot added pinches of various magical powders, each creating spectacular sparkles and swirls in the mixture. However, their excitement led to carelessness. Tot accidentally knocked over a jar of reindeer gigglers, which caused all the kitchen utensils to float and dance in the air. Twinkle bumped into a shelf of rainbow frost, covering them all in multicolored sparkles. And Tinker's attempt to control the floating utensils only made them spin faster. Just as the kitchen had descended into complete chaos, with floating pots, rainbow-covered elves, and a pot of bubbling chocolate that had started singing Christmas carols in different languages, Mrs. Claus returned. To their surprise, she wasn't angry. Instead, she laughed warmly at the sight before her. With a wave of her candy cane wand, she restored order to the kitchen and cleaned up the mess. Then she gathered the three sparkly, embarrassed elves around her table. "My dears," she said with a twinkle in her eye, "did you really think the magic was in the recipe? The secret ingredient has been right in front of you all along." She pulled out her special pot and began making a fresh batch of hot chocolate. As she worked, she explained that the true magic wasn't in any rare ingredient or special powder. It was in the love and joy she put into making it, and the happiness she felt when sharing it with others. The mysterious ingredients merely helped to amplify these feelings. From that day forward, Mrs. Claus invited the 3 elves to help her prepare the evening hot chocolate. Under her guidance, they learned that real magic comes not from secret recipes, but from the heart with which something is made. Tinker, Twinkle, and Tot never revealed what they had learned that day, but their adventures became a cherished memory. And sometimes, on special evenings, Mrs. Claus would let them add a pinch of rainbow frost or a drop of reindeer giggles to the hot chocolate, creating unique blends that made the other elves' pointy ears wiggle with delight. The moral of their adventure spread throughout the workshop. Sometimes the most magical secrets aren't meant to be discovered, but rather experienced with an open heart and shared with